What's up, Guru Nation? Welcome back to the Clinical Trials Guru.com. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow me on all those social networks, all that stuff, okay? And call or text anytime, 949-415-6256. You can also email me, Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. That's Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. I got a good question, just like this person did, okay? They emailed me. I keep them anonymous. There's no need to be paranoid, okay? But I know people in this industry are, because it's very secretive. I don't know why, but it is. But it's one of the last industries that is going to, because everything's becoming more transparent, right? Every industry. So clinical research, one of the last ones, but it's going that way too. So anyways, I keep you anonymous, okay? This person wants to partner with research-naive physicians who have their own private practices and wants to help them build up their research business. So he's kind of like this person. Actually, I don't even know if it's a he or she. They, I believe, are a CRA, which is Clinical Research Associate, and then as a side hustle, they have like a consulting company where they set up their own LLC, and then they meet with research-naive doctors. They teach them how to do research. And then this person's asking me what percentage of equity is usually fair to negotiate with the site. And my answer is whatever you can get, okay? Now, the way I do business, as counterintuitive as it seems, I actually don't like to do deals that are just one-sided, like in my favor. I know like a lot of people, old school business people, they try to make the deal completely in their favor. I don't like doing that. Just because of what I said at the beginning of this video, I think word of mouth is on steroids now with social media, and everyone's just more connected, and transparency. Like, if you're screwing people over, you're gonna get discovered. I mean, I met with some researchers the other day, and they were telling me stories about what some consultants were doing in the 90s in this industry, where they were essentially receiving, basically stealing payments from research clinics, and their reputation, it took years for them to develop a bad reputation. Nowadays, fast forward to 2016, it takes like months probably, no more than 1 year, right? So I say whatever you can get, but while being fair, not only because it's the right thing to do, but also it serves a practical purpose. So your value as the consultant is going to be, a lot of it's going to be heavy initially, right? Like your value is going to be tremendous in the beginning when the research-naive physician has no idea what they're doing, their staff have no idea what they're doing, they're not getting studies, you're getting studies. They don't know how to conduct a screening visit. They don't even know what a screening visit is. They don't know how to randomize someone. Like, your value is going to come in the beginning of your relationship, right? So what happens, so they may not mind paying you a greater percentage during the initial period of your relationship, but if you want to keep a long-term business and you want to keep and maintain a long-term business relationship with these physicians that you're partnering with, you're going to have to be fair, because there's only, screwing them over is only going to get you so far. Pretty soon they're going to figure out how to do this stuff on their own, right? And unless you can continue to create more value for them, they're not going to need you anymore, okay? And yeah, you can like lock them down with a solid, rock-solid contract, but there's always ways around that stuff, and I just wouldn't play that game. You should be looking for ways to increase your value to retain your client, or at this point your business partner, because they're not actually going to be a client. So the actual question is, what is a percentage of equity that's usually negotiated with the site? I was considering 40% equity because I will be responsible for all the startup activities, obtain the study, train and prep the site staff, SOPs, ensure each line item in the budget is invoiced correctly. My concern is the site can say that they are providing the site and patients. How do I negotiate? Should I use a typical agreement? So there's a lot of stuff. First of all, I do think your 40% is fair. I would actually even go as high as 50-50. It's really where you would go like 60-40, 70-30, 80-20 in your favor that I don't think it's fair any longer. But 40% for you is actually pretty reasonable. It's what I would do. I would go as high as 50-50. I'd never, if in this situation of what you're doing, especially if you want to replicate this in many different locations, which is kind of what I'm doing. I mean, I have some sites that I own outright, but we're also expanding and we're partnering, just like you are, with physicians, research naive, some not research naive, and I never want to have more equity than they do because they're there every day to manage the site. I'm not. So if they don't have skin in the game, or if they don't feel like they're at least an equal partner to me, then eventually they may not want to do this any longer, right? So there's no value for me. So I always give more of the equity to the people we partner with, 60-40, 50-50, and then you got to just start providing more value later on. So initially, yeah, you're going to be training site staff, but what are you going to do after the site staff has been trained? Like you can train new site staff. That's one way to add value. You can also continue bringing in studies, maybe filling out the feasibility surveys for them, maybe negotiating contracts and budgets for them long term, but maybe helping them expand into other therapeutic indications or other geographic locations. These are all ways to keep the business relationship healthy and for you to continue to add value to the business, because a lot of the value you're bringing is up front, okay? But I do think 40% is reasonable. Your concern is that so a typical CTA agreement, I wouldn't even deal with that. I would set up an LLC with the physician. So your LLC can own 40% of it, and then the physician's LLC can own 60% of your new site, right? So that's the 60-40 split. Now, if you're talking about the CTAs, which are the clinical trial agreements between the sponsor and the site, I mean, that doesn't affect that. The sponsor could care less who owns the site, as long as the site has an LLC, right? So let's say you're opening a site in Memphis called Memphis Clinical Trials LLC, and then your LLC owns 40% of it, that company, and the doctor's LLC owns 60% of that company. Well, the CTA is coming from the CRO or the sponsor. They're just negotiating that budget between the sponsor and Memphis Clinical Trials LLC. Okay, so it doesn't matter what agreement you have. What matters is the LLC agreement and the operating agreement of the LLC that is going to be the site. Okay, so it's actually a lot easier and simpler than you think. But I would think long term about how can I provide value, because I've been around the block, so I've seen this happen with my own eyes. And your value, as it diminishes, you either need to start adding more value from elsewhere, or work out something more reasonable with the site. So maybe you never give up the 60-40 equity, but as the site becomes more self-sufficient, they'll need you less, and maybe you can pay the doctor a salary, and then you don't get a salary, in addition to the 60-40 split. So there's always ways to make things fair and make things reasonable, and you just want to make sure you have a good attorney on both sides. Look at the operating agreement. And this is especially important if you want to expand and repeat this over and over again, because your reputation is really, at the end of the day, all that matters and all that you have, right? Hey, Guru Nation, really quick, I wanted to add that, if you are a research site owner, all right, and you want to partner with a physician, you're looking for a PI to bring to your site, all right, you pay them 10% or 20% because that's your site. Now, if you partner with a physician, you can go 50-50, but when I talk about paying them 20% or 10%, that's not when you partner with them. That's bringing them in to your site as a PI, okay? Also, you could negotiate more than 40 or even 50% equity partnership if you're going to be putting in the work, the majority of the work, managing the site, initially doing the coordinating. You're going to be dedicating time at the site for the foreseeable future. In this viewer's case, they were not going to do that. They're actually more of a consultant role, and the physician is actually doing most of the work. He has the coordinators, he's paying the staff. So that's why the 60-40 split, 60 going to the physician, is fair in his case, right? Don't want to confuse you guys. Talk to you later.